And I think we are live, folks. Listen, welcome to another episode of ETA. Listen, this episode is different. I'm at extremely high vibration frequency from coming back from an event where I met Jados Fitness in Miami, went to his mansion, did a rally with exotic cars, and met his mentor himself, Wes Watson. Listen, these men operate from a different perspective. They do not see money first. That's the last thing that we're going to talk about today. All right. So listen, tune in. We're going to be talking about cutting the fat, how doing less could help you do more. And that's something that was really stressed in this mastermind. A lot of people think that just because they do more and they add something else, a new strategy, a new funnel. And listen, I do funnels and I sell them. These guys got no funnel and they make millions a month. Not one funnel, other than where you go and sign up for their course. No ads, nothing. It is crazy. Next level stuff. Can everybody pull that with no ads? Not necessarily in the beginning, but eventually we're going to get right into it. So listen, fellas, how you guys doing today, man?
Fantastic, man. You got me excited just by you introducing that, watching everything you were going through this weekend. Was really exciting. So I can't wait to hear more about it.
Man, let me tell you, I feel great. I was living through your stories, John, and I know I kept saying, man, I can't wait to get back to see what he got out of it. I want to hear his takeaways, the good, the bad, the ugly, the wise, the silly, everything. I want to get it all, and I'm glad that you're selfless enough to share it with everyone at the same time here on our platform, man. So kudos to you, bro.
I appreciate it, man. Listen, this experience, I mean, for those that may follow me or not follow me, go to John Medina CEO on Instagram and look at the stories, right? And you go on the highlights. I highlighted a bunch of the stories that I did in the past 3 days. All right. This thing was next level, man. I tell you. When I tell you that I believe I may have told my wife, or maybe I thought about it, but I but I knew I never fit in with most people. And this weekend, I found out exactly the reason why, right? I got to the event. There's hundreds of people there, all right? It wasn't a massive event. I don't think there was more than 200 people there, all right? It was a really exclusive event. And I see myself gravitating, without knowing these people, I see myself gravitating to certain people. You know what they say, frequency and attracts frequency, right? Energy attracts energy. And the Bible says one mountain calls another mountain. All right. That's how it goes. It's in the Bible, by the way. This is not some stuff from the world, right? It is in the scripture. A mountain attracts another mountain. And you guys could Google it up. All right. And I see myself just naturally going to certain people. And we just vibrated the same frequency, man. I tell you. And that's before I knew who they were, et cetera, et cetera. One of them, I did know who he was. And I tell you this story, man. I just got me another mentor from my mentor. All right. He does things slightly different. And it's all about personal branding. This kid went from where I was a year ago. He said, John, I knew nothing about nothing. Jados told me, pick up your phone and start recording 1 year ago. Guess how much this kid makes? He lives in Spain, by the way. Guess how much money this young man makes a month?
25, 30 grand?
Over 100. Go for it.
No, I was going to say
I just said it. Over 100,000 a month in less than a year. I'm driving down, right? I'm driving by Jado's mansion, right? You get in, you got to go through the gates and everything. So I get there 20 minutes before. I'm driving around like, listen, I'm not going to go stop in front of Jado's house. I'm just about to meet my mentor for the first time. I ain't going to disrespect his time. 20 minutes is 20 minutes, right? So I'm like, all right, let me just drive around and look at the neighborhood. I drive 2 blocks down the street. I was going to go straight. I look to the left and I see this kid in front of the white Ferrari taking pictures, doing his thing with personal branding. He's there standing in front of the white Ferrari. By the way, he rented it, right? He lives in Spain. He has his own Lamborghini out there, yellow Lamborghini. It looks beautiful, a Huracan. And I see him take it. I immediately recognize him. Power of personal branding. I stop. Didn't have any hesitation. I felt it on my spirit. I go like, you got to turn back. Go introduce yourself. I reverse. I turn to my left. And he's there doing content. You know, social media people, right? And his videographer and also a student is in the car. I just go up to him, like, I put down my window, creepy as heck, right? I go slowly towards him. And I rolled down the window that were fully tinted, like extremely dark. I think the darkest legal possible in Florida. I put down the window. I goes like, hey, I lean out with a big old smile. I'm like, hey, are you Ruben? He goes, with a puzzled face, he goes, yeah. He don't know me because my brand ain't there yet. All right. But I know his because his is there. And hey, are you Ruben? I'm like, yeah. He goes, yeah, super cool dude. You're vibing right away. Frequency right up there. And I said, hey, you going to Jado's house, right? He goes like, yeah. He goes like, you too? I said, yeah. You mind if I park real quick and just wait with you? He goes, dude, come right in, man. Just come right up. Welcoming. Didn't know me. Welcoming, right? You would think someone that makes over $1.5 million or 1.5 million a year is cocky, right? Not this kid. And we sit there for about 20 minutes before we go to Jado's house. In those 20 minutes, that kid, I tell you, blew my freaking mind.
I got to ask you a question. I know you're going to get into it, but you keep saying kid. I think when you say kid,
he's younger than me. I'm 34. He's younger than me.
Wow. That's what I was getting at. Okay.
I think he's in his 20s. He's definitely not 30 yet.
Wow.
And I'm sitting there, dude, I tell you, when you talk with people at that level, conversation is different. He asked me a few questions. He goes, what you do? I told him what I do. He figured out about how much I was making already because this is where he was just a few months ago. He's over 100K. And you guys know my goal. I've been saying it the whole year. What's my goal by November?
150.
150,000 in monthly recurring. All right. I don't tell him that until he asks me a few questions. But I know where he's at because personal branding.
So he does the same exact thing you do as far as?
No, he teaches personal branding, and he started as a filmmaker himself, and now he teaches other filmmakers how to make 10K plus a month. So he's a coach. He transitioned from where I was doing, and he was making about the same amount of money I was making. Most people get comfortable where I'm at. Dude, I am not comfortable at all. At all. We went to that rally. It was 10 of us. It was 10 cars. 10 exotic cars. Right? I rented a G-Wagon. That was the cheapest car there. And it was a nice G-Wagon, by the way. That was the cheapest car there. The slowest one, too. I got left behind so fast.
You know, when I seen the story, when I seen the picture, I said, man, he ain't getting no truck next year. Next year, he gonna get a
heck no. And then
he gonna get a
there's no truck next year, dude. I'm getting a fast car next time, right? Matter of fact, I'm aiming to have my own that I'll drive up there. Or I have it shipped out there because I ain't driving 5 hours.
That's right.
Right. You got to value time. That's another thing, too. I looked at the plane tickets. I looked at me driving. I had no hesitation. I ain't driving 5 hours. It's going to cost me way more. No matter how much the ticket was, the time would cost me way more. 5 hours there, 5 hours back. I was like, no, dude, I got in that plane, 38 minutes in the air. I was there. Someone picked me up at the airport. By the way, connections. I met this guy months ago. He goes, when I told him, hey, I'm going to Miami. I know you're going too. Dude, I look forward to meeting you. Without me asking, he goes, dude, I'll pick you up at the airport. What time you get there? He was waiting for me when I got there, man. Connections, dude. I spent time with him, met his wife, met his younger son, and a few other guys that was with him. But it's the power of connection. This is good. It's super amazing. You know, Dan Regis, dude, you know where you're at. All right. Cool, dude. And just the power of connection, man. Right before I got there, man, just the vibration was different. In the chat, we got a VIP chat. Just the frequency was different, right? And to get back to the story, man, within 20 minutes, this kid blew my mind. He blew my mind so badly, and we connected so right away, dude. You just know when you connect with somebody, and he's not the money. I tell you this. He's not, because I don't connect with people that got a lot of money. Not with everybody. There's a guy the other day that came to me that makes decent amount of money in the insurance space, by the way. Has a massive team, or I think over 2,000-3,000 agents. I met with him twice. I wasn't vibing him. He wanted to open what we do to his entire team. I didn't like him. I didn't vibe him. I felt like he was wasting my time. I just felt like he was just sneaky around the corners. I didn't vibe him, and I'm about vibe. And this guy, he would have put another 6-7 figures on my pocket. And I said, I follow what Yado says this. Follow your conscience. What we as Christians know, the Holy Spirit. Or what people say, follow your gut. That's a God-given gift. If your gut, if your mind, if your spirit is telling you, stop something or don't proceed with that person, cut it. And I removed that person from this was months ago. I removed this guy from my list. You know, I have a list. Sometimes I throw some follow-ups, right? I remove him from my list and I let a day go by. And I'm like, I got to let this guy know I removed him from my list. So I shoot him a text. Hey, so-and-so, I removed you from my list. Period. Boom. Done. He's never welcomed. Why? Because he didn't buy with the dude. All right. So it's not about the money, man. It's about, dude, can we vibe? Can I trust you? If I can sense, because God sees everything, right? If I can sense you being sneaky now, when there's money, you're going to kill me. Or it's going to go the other way, right? Where I'm going to get aggressive. And I don't like to get aggressive because it's dangerous when any man gets aggressive. So I cut him loose, dude. But getting back to my story, to what truly matters, is I buy with this kid.
Well, I think that truly matters. I know you want to get to your story, but you said something important. You know, you said your goal is 150,000 a month.
Which is not a lot, by the way.
You said this guy would bring you into six figures.
I would have crossed it already.
But the vibe was way off, and you didn't feel it was conducive to your business. So you didn't think he was going to be consistent? Like, what do you mean by that? It's just the energy wasn't there?
I do not know what it was, but God sees things we don't see.
Got it. You went with your
God sees things we don't see. He knows the future. Even the devil knows what you're about to do based on your personality. Right? Even scientists try to say that you could study a child in the first few months and you kind of predict their future. Behavioral, energy, spiritual, everything. By the way, money is spiritual. It's not physical. If money was physical, dude, the freaking people out there in construction, they'll be making all the money.
You're right.
All right. Implementation, physically doing the actual work is the least rewarded in the spiritual world. If you're a laborer, you're getting paid the least. 100%. Anytime that you have to be in the transaction, you're getting paid the least. Right? You elevate yourself spiritually, everything else follows, man. And this is what everybody out there is doing wrong. They want to put everything and force God's timing into this planet by them doing more. Like, dude, you're just making things go farther from you because you're chasing it. You're hungry. And I've been there. Dude. Even in 2020, when it was the first time I made over 10K a month, I was chasing money, dude. And y'all know the story. I ended up drinking that year. I was away from the church. I was away from God. Well, I still prayed, but I wasn't as connected. I wasn't following. Right? It's a spiritual thing, man. I tell you.
A lot of people were. I think a lot of people were in chasing. I get you.
Most people are chasing, man. I meet with sales entrepreneurs, and I know who's going to make it right from the get-go.
Do y'all know the language of people? I'm gonna say God, because we believe in God or the universe. Do y'all know the language? Because think about it. You got Chinese, you got Italian, Spanish, English, Creole. What is the universal language to speak to God or the universe? What is the language that he understands?
Well, it's God. It's faith, man. Faith, believe in action.
Faith, right? So would you say emotions? Would
Absolutely.
you say vibrations? Would you say images in your mind? Because you have to see it before you can implement.
Before you can have it in your hand.
Right. So God recognizes your emotions, your energy, your vibration. That's how you speak to him. If your vibration ain't right, if you always negative, because the only person knows how you feel really is God, the universe. The only person knows.
It's not no universe, it's God. Let's call it for what it is.
People that don't believe in God. There's people that believe in God and don't understand what God is. So that's why I use universe also as a.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I want to talk to everybody.
I got you. It's God. It's like oxygen. You don't. Whether they believe in oxygen, you're breathing right now. Stop breathing. I'll tell you how true God is. You're gonna see it.
Right?
Yeah. We call it what it is, man. It's so good. This is a Christian
H2O water, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you. But go on, man. I like where you're going.
Yeah, so that's the universal language, man. You got to keep your emotions in check. You have to stay positive. You could paint a picture to me all you want. You can say all these great things all you want, but I know it ain't great because I can see how the way you're living, and God see it too. So he or she, because God could be a woman too, right?
There's no gender in heaven, man. God only made sex down here for us to procreate. That's all.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
So we need to keep our emotions in check because there's that one person that knows your true intentions and your true vibrations. That's why I have a map, a calendar, an image that it's called the vibe check. If you're spiraling down, you need to pay attention to it and be very intentional about spiraling back up. That's why I tell people that I'm coaching and mentoring, hey, look, when you feel bad, call somebody that you know have a good spirit, a high spirit, to get you back in that spiral, in that green phase, that upward stage. So I'm with you agreeing. I ain't cutting you off no more. Keep going, John.
No, you good, man. I like it. I like what you just added right there, man. So for those that do not know, and again, Christianity, we kind of sometimes want to say, this is the thing of new era, new age. Listen, the Bible is the Bible. God made everything, right? It's like meditation. We already gave it to the Buddhist. We try to say that meditation is evil. Listen, it ain't. The Bible talks about meditate on my words. Meditation is just focusing your mind on something, right? So we got to be careful what we attribute to the devil, because the devil is a freaking liar, man. He tried to take everything that's good from man. It's like food. Food is killing most Americans today because they're eating junk. He makes it easily accessible. They're killing themselves, right? And I ain't going to get into that because that's going to make me pissed off. And
that is a whole new show.
Yeah, that's a new topic.
Let's move on from that food topic, right? But for those out there that do not know what Mark is talking about, just go on Google, right? And put vibrational chart, and you're gonna see there. And this is one thing that Jados preaches to us all the time. He goes, listen, you do not want to operate anywhere below love, right? There's love, there's joy, there's peace, and there's alignment. He says you gotta come to the point where you cut everything that is so bad for you. We're talking about cutting the fat, cutting about people. I don't give a damn. I don't care who it is. I cannot say damn. It's a bad word. My apologies, my Christian fellows out there. All right. But I get emotional about this thing because it's the reality, right? It's the fastest way to accelerate your existence in this life and to show God that you appreciate him by taking action, right? I see so many Christians that say, and I say this inside of the Christian community, I see so many Christians that are out there praying God to heal them for something that they caused and continue to cause in themselves, right? You got back pain because you got 400 pounds extra on you. I'm exaggerating, right? And I had back pains before. I know it was all me, 100%. And he sucked. And I fixed it and he disappeared. And I'm grateful for it. Right? You got knee pains, right? Most people don't know that 1 pound is like 4 extra pounds on your knees. And then you wonder what your knees cave in. And how I know this, my knees were caving in. I'm not talking things that I haven't lived. My knees were caving in. I look like freaking the dude from what's the name? Kim, what's the name of that show where that little girl goes like, "It's so fluffy." Despicable Me. Thank you. My wife is over here cooking a steak, man. She distracted me. But from Despicable Me, you know the guy from Despicable Me. He's like huge in the top and like little skinny legs. Yeah. that was me, man. I was trying to look like that dude, and I was like, dude, I cannot let this happen, man. My knees were caving in. I was having like knee pain. And then I would look in the mirror and I put when you put your knees together, you know if they're straight or not. I'm just correcting mine, by the way. So I'm not saying anything to put anybody down. I'm telling you what I lived, right? We're causing ourselves harm and then we're expecting God to come fix the mess for me. It's like if my kids go and burn the mall, I ain't going to go turn off no mall for you. You go turn that thing off. You cause a freaking problem. You'll pay the price. God is the same way. He's merciful. He loves you, but you still got to pay your price, man. All right. I don't know why I got into the subject, but man, don't give me a mic. But listen, about that part, vibrational chart, looked it up. You don't want to be anywhere below love. And the Bible talks about love, gratefulness. Be grateful every single day, no matter how good or bad you got it. Because guess what? The worst day that you have is someone that wishes they were alive 1 more second to live what you're living now. We're so ungrateful, dude. I was in the airport and I see another man in a wheelchair being pulled by another man. a permanent wheelchair, not a temporary one. And I took a second to appreciate that. I'm like, God, and this was in the bathroom. I said, God, I thank you for my legs. And I thank you for that man right there. Bless him. And guess what? That man couldn't walk. He had another man assist him in the bathroom. It was a young man too. I don't know who the other man was. I didn't really look. But that man had a good attitude. The guy in the wheelchair had a good attitude. He was grateful. You could sense it in his spirit. You could sense it in his face. He was smiling. And no, he was coherent. He knew what he was doing. He was smiling. He was grateful for that other man that was with him, by the way. It wasn't an assistant from the airport. And here we are complaining about little things, bro. When you are complaining about little things, drop to the freaking ground, drop 500 burpees. You're either going to die there or you're going to wake up grateful. And people pass out doing burpees, by the way. Pass out and let everything that's inside of you pass out of you. All right? But that part, man, going back to the story, it's not about the money. All right? There's good money and there's bad money. Try to take money from the devil. You know how many artists out there in Hollywood give their soul for some money? And the devil always kills them young. Always. Don't let you go past your 40s. Kills you. Because he wants that soul. All right? Before you mature and realize money's not that important. It's important. Right there next to oxygen. But it's not more important than oxygen. All right? But going back to the subject, man, cutting the fat. And do you want me to finish that story about how I met my new mentor?
Yeah, so what's the takeaway from we would love to hear it, man.
So this young man, I tell you, he blew my mind in those 20 minutes, just while we waited to go to the mansion. By the way, it was only 8 of us that were invited to the mansion. Plus Jados and his dad, they both picked up a car. Jado's cars, right? By the way, his dad, massive cool dude, extremely humble, right? Lives in Spain, very approachable, all right? And he opens up real fast. Like he was telling us things like, I'm not going to say ever, like personal things that are good, that are motivational to us, but the public is no one's business. Because the public is always trying to find fault, calling Jados fake. Dude is far from fake, man. And I wanted to meet him. I wanted to shake his hand, which I got to do for many, many times while at the event, right? And I just sense his spirit. The guy comes from a position of love. And he turns money down all the time. He's the same way. He goes, dude, if I'm vibing with you, I ain't gonna let you come in. No matter how much you want to pay me. You know? And but in those 20 minutes, a young man blew my mind so bad, man. And we vibed together. Like it was a God thing. I tell you, God set that up. There was nobody else there. And as soon as we're done having the conversation, you see the other Lambos passing by, lining up to go to Jado's house. Because most of them were driving Lambos, by the way. And most of them owned it, which was even more inspirational. There was a young kid there. He's 21, owns a Lambo already. Second one.
What's his occupation? What's his business?
He sells exotic rims in Miami. Like massively, to massive scale.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I met another guy from Atlanta, Carlos, Spanish dude, Mexican. They were Spanish, by the way. I mean, it goes without saying, it was a Spanish event. And he does, what's the word? When they reconstruct vehicles and they pimp them out, like pimp by ride type thing.
Yeah.
So he's building custom. Yeah, straight up custom. Everything from everywhere. And he doesn't do it with his hands anymore, right? He uses this creativity.
That's right.
And he was telling me the amount of money. With him, I got into numbers. We had dinner that night. And after he told me how much he makes, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, man, I got to remember this. Stay humble. I would have never guessed. And he's sitting there at the table. I cannot tell you what I would discuss because it was a little private. But he was telling me the way he scaled his business with other people's money. And he's telling me this. By the way, I got my first Amex, right? It was waiting for me at home when I got home. I'm excited for that because that network, he said, you got to crack that network, John. You know? So one of my goals has been to get into the black card, right? It's invite only. You got to make over $500,000, right? And a bunch of other stuff. But he's telling me all these things and how he played everything. And his business makes well over, I forgot the number. It was between 8 and 12 million a year. And he's sitting there with me and a younger guy in front of me that does extremely well too. And we just chit chatting. Dude, we were there for an hour and a half, just having dinner. Mostly talking. The energy, man. I vibed with him even before I knew who he was. I didn't have a clue who that guy was. But we vibe right away. The energy, the frequency. You attract what you are.
That's right.
Right? I always say this. If you see in your life that you're attracting low-level people that are really not even putting an effort in their life, check yourself. You're the problem. It's like, when someone tells you, I can guess your future by the people you surround yourself with, it's so freaking true.
That's 100% true.
It's so true. I fit right into this crowd. Like I was saying earlier, in my life, I felt like I didn't fit in most crowds. Now I figure it out. Lower energy. I'm up here energy-wise, and I work hard every single freaking day, every single day. My wife and my kids know it. I don't like to hear whining, complaining, ungratefulness, screaming, none of that stuff. It brings down your frequency. I wear this all day long. So when they're playing video games, my kids get really into the video game, especially my middle one. And that kind of disturbs my vibe. I ain't going to lie. He knows it. He doesn't mean it from harm. He's just excited. He's like, So I keep this on to control me. All right. And when he gets out of hand, obviously I let him know. Because he got the middle room upstairs and it's right by the stairs and echoes to my office. But it's about energy and frequency, man. If you bring it lower, and this is what we're talking about, cutting the fat. What do we mean by cutting the fat? That means cutting people, cutting habits, cutting actions, cutting things. Matter of fact, I'm so grateful. I want to say it loud. I'm so grateful for my wife lately. She's been making my coffee in the morning. That little hack right there. Now I see why Alex Hermosi says this. Don't make your own dinner. Don't make your own lunch. Don't do your own freaking laundry. Don't clean your own house. Do not clean your car. Don't do none of this crap. You'll pay somebody to do it.
Leverage.
Why? Because it might not be a big deal. Like, hey, let me go and make my coffee. It's going to take me 3 minutes. Actually, it takes me 5 because I heat up my stuff, right? But it's that disconnect. Jados gave a massive example. By the way, for those that do not know, Jados used to be a professional motorcycle race guy, right? When he was younger. All right. He made it to semi-pros or something like that, or pro. I think he made it to pro level until he got injured or whatever it was. I don't know. I don't really care about that part. But he said, listen, it's like if you get an A1 race car, and he said this at the event to everybody. And I just is so vivid. He goes, listen. So someone was talking about how to eliminate distraction, how to eliminate when you're in the zone, someone distracting you. He said this. It's kind of funny though. He goes, hey, why don't you imagine A1 race car? What do they call it?
A1, Formula One.
Formula One race car. Imagine that you're a Formula race car and the racer guy, whatever they call him, right? The guy riding the ride super fast and he's turning sharp in a corner and his mama calls him. He goes, just imagine you turning that sharp corner and your mom calls. You think he's taking that call? No, he's laser focused because what? The microsecond, if you get distracted, it causes your life.
Mm-hmm.
And that vivid example is a true example of people right now that got distractions in their life. I'm cutting everything that is not serving my purpose. I'm 34 years old. How do I show gratitude to God? By me becoming the best person possible and helping others become the best version possible in their life with the actual massive freaking results and not allow them to slack. They slack, cut them off. To the point that I tell my kids, if you give me a bad attitude, you give me bad energy, even I will call you off. And they go, Dad, you're going to cut me off? I'm like, yeah, we'll call you off. It's my child, my blood. But I don't say that to be mean. I say that to hey, you got to level up. That's my whole point of the conversation. Because it don't matter who it is, man. Listen, you remember Jesus Christ when he went to the cross. You think he wanted to go to the cross?
No.
Jesus Christ. No. He got shredded. He got shredded up there. Shredded. Like his skin was shredded, literally. And then stabbed to the point of death. But that was his purpose. You think Mary, his mom, wasn't crying? Jesus, tell him you're not God. So they let you live and then you die and go straight to hell. Right? Jesus didn't do that. Matter of fact, the Bible doesn't even mention that because it didn't happen. Jesus had a mission. And when he knew his time came, he gathered his disciples, and I'm sure he gathered his mom too. And he said that time has come. And he had something what we know as a Last Supper. And what he did, the bravest thing anybody could do, he lined up and he went and did his mission. And most of us here, we're letting anybody distract us, dude. You're doing a disservice to your own God. And I hope your God is Jehovah, right? Yahweh, if he ain't him, you're going straight to hell. That I don't care what religion you're in. There's only one God, right? It's like the United States has one government. You try to come to the United States from Russia without American papers, good luck, you're not going to freaking get in. The same thing to heaven. Who wants the key to heaven? Yahweh, God, the only one. And if he says the only way to get in here is with the key code, Jesus Christ, faith and believe in him, ain't nobody going to make it. It's like the United States. And United States got no power compared to God.
You're preaching today. I guess you want to preach. We went from Janos to preaching. I'll take it though.
Janos was preaching more Bible than most preachers today out there. He's telling us exactly what to do every single day to better your life, and by default, it's going to better the lives of the people around you.
Yeah.
He even got so far to say to a guy there that thanked him because he has a daughter, right? I forgot how old she is, but she's young. And he goes, man, you helped me so much. You got me out of drugs. You got me out of that. And now my daughter, I want her to be raised to the point that she would not just allow any fool to come into her life. He said that he started to open the door for her out of the car, pull the chair in when she's sitting down, right? And just doing all these things that men should do for a woman. My wife don't get any ideas. She's going, I opened the door for her. That's about as far as I got. I don't want to pull no chair on nobody. Sometimes I might do that. But all right, don't get any ideas. We're already married. But listen, but he said this. Janos told him, you're living a life now, and his body, he's shredded. He used to be obese. He showed the picture. It was massive. Guy from Puerto Rico, by the way. He goes, you're being an example right now to your family, whether it's good or whether it's bad. If your family, like, by the way, I used to sleep in. My kids will see me in the morning when they go into school, and I was sleeping in bed. What kind of example is that? My kids wake up before I do and go to school before I get my butt up? That's a horrible example. I was carrying a gut. And again, if you have a gut and you're working on it, kudos to you. We leave you alone. But if you got a gut and you're feeding yourself bread and overeating in calories, and then you're complaining about a back pain, I should slap you. But I ain't going to do that. I'll let God do that. Because he's going to do it anyways. Because that's the law of, it's like gravity. You drop something, it's going freaking down. All right? So he's saying all these things, all these codes that most people won't even understand to become the best version of you. Because your kids are watching you. And if they, like, for example, my dad used to sleep in when I was a kid. Then I started sleeping in. And guess what? My dad had a massive belly. He looked like he was pregnant. Like round, like it was like the intestines were like swollen. It was bad. I never saw my dad work out. He was tired all the time because he owned like 20 businesses, by the way. He wasn't a fool. He knew how to make money. All right. But he was a fool because he didn't have control of what was under his pants. He screwed around with women. By the way, don't do that crap. That will destroy you. And he did. All right. But, man, don't let me go in a rant. Go ahead, man. Any questions?
I was listen, you went through 3 different things and I was just listening to you preach. This is note-taking time. I'm glad this is being recorded.
I'm telling you, man, you don't go around this type of man and expect them that they got there with luck or connections. Dude, Wes Watson was asked, and I sent you guys a video. I don't know if it was on the video, but they asked him, Janos asked him, hey, how long you been doing this? And Wes Watson, by the way, Wes Watson was in prison for 10 years. Most people don't make it after they come out of prison.
No.
Wes, within 2-3 years, a millionaire again. Millionaire, massively. But he said those 10 years, it was preparation for him. He was not sitting in there complaining, right? He was not sitting out there wasting time just hitting the gym. He was hitting the gym, getting massive, getting tat everywhere. By the way, that part I don't recommend. All right. And he was self-developing from prison. And matter of fact, he said he was recording videos. They let him keep a phone because he was well connected in there. And they let him keep a phone with a camera. Most prisoners don't get that. He was doing content from prison. And you could like go on YouTube and look at it. Had a bunch of prison content, dropping gems from prison. He created a following from prison. Comes out 2-3 years later, multimillionaire. Now he's driving a freaking Bugatti. And he goes, when Yados asked him, Wes, how long you been doing this? He goes, 7 freaking years. And the guy's the same way on Instagram as it is in person. He goes, 7 freaking years. His veins popping. He was in the way to the gym because he opened at 8 to the public. And he was coming in and he wasn't even working out yet. His vein was going right through. He'd go, 7 freaking years. And guess how many times I fell? Not one. And he said the F word. I ain't going to say it. Not one freaking day. Men are not supposed to fail. You're supposed to get up early at 5 in the morning, hit the freaking gym, and show God with action your gratitude. The energy coming out of that man, it was next level. And that's Yados' coach. I cannot even explain the energy, man. It's like trying to tell you how good the steak I'm about to eat is.
So is that where the tattoos come from? Where Yados come from, Watson? The tattoo thing.
No, Yados already had it, but I think Wes just helped it get more because now he has it on his head, on his fingers, everywhere.
Yeah,
but he had it before that.
Yeah, so you gonna come back to Tampa with tatted up too, man.
Dude, I was before I took my plane because I was massively early. I'm driving by Bayside in Miami, and I'm going through the shops looking for things to buy for the kids and the wife, and I see a tattoo shop, and I was like, man, I got some time. And then I was like, no, nothing wrong with tattoos. I got one right here, right? You know, I had that when I was 17. I didn't even ask my mom. I almost got in trouble for that. But and again, this is the power of who you hang out with. The guy that did this for me was the cousin of one of my buddies I was hanging out when I was in a gang. By the way, I wasn't a gang. Just putting that out there. That's why I don't like to get aggressive because stupid things happen. All right. That's why I cut people with negative energy because I could sense them. Right. Because if you cross me the wrong way, just like if you cross a lion, he's going to eat you. He may be having dinner with you, but the lion will eat you if you mess with it. With any man. I don't care who you are.
You're right.
But yeah, that's the one thing I hope I don't pick up, the tattoo part.
Yeah.
They look sick, though. I mean, they do look sick. I ain't going to lie. All right.
What was your biggest, if there was one thing that you said that was your biggest takeaway, though, because that's a lot of story there. That you basically summed up probably one day, because your timeline was serious. What was the one major thing that you feel probably propelled you?
There's a lot of things, man. The number one thing is faith. He was preaching so much freaking faith.
Okay.
If you ain't got no faith, massive faith, like the Bible says, in God, not in no universe, in God himself. And in you, you're not going to make it. He says it. You're not going to make it.
What do you mean by it? Make it. That's such a...
Make it. And by the way, he says, if you feel like you made it, you're going to go down because you never make it. All right?
There's always another level.
Always. So he goes, is the faith, is your belief in your God, first of all, believe in certainty of where you're going. And just know, dude, you're unstoppable. We already won. And then he got into the part of, you know, the odds of you to be alive right now. Look it up. 1 in over 8,000. And you're freaking here. And you're ungrateful, dude. Over 8,000 molecules, freaking sperm little babies didn't make it. You did.
So you're basically saying faith and optimism. Just it's not just faith. I mean, you're saying you already like just you got to be in the right mindset, frequencies.
Gratitude.
Gratitude. Thank you. I was about to correct them. I let them kind of slide for a few seconds. But not skepticism, gratitude and certainty. And faith, knowing that you already won. You are not going to win. You already freaking won, dude. You're here. If you approach, and all these guys are massively successful, they said, imagine today you knew you were going to do something and you were going to win. How freaking aggressive would you be? How certain would you be? Knowing that no matter what you do, you're going to win. You already won, dude. You're already here. The way we show gratitude to God is by massive action, living it in the flesh. The Bible, everywhere in the Bible says God has planned to prosper you, not to harm you. Everywhere in the Bible. Prosperity and riches and wealth created for the man and woman that believe in God.
Mm-hmm.
Not for anybody else. All right. So how do you elevate your frequency? How do you elevate your level? He says this: wake your butt up at 5 a.m. every single day, hit the gym, self-develop, journal. This is the one part I'm going to add to it. Is you got to write down what you learned that day and give it to the world. Don't keep it to yourself. Don't be greedy. Don't be selfish. Like, look, I just picked up a bunch of stuff here. I'm giving it out to you guys right now. And I spent what people don't make in 3 months, in 3 days. And I'm not complaining, dude. I'm like, dude, I would do this right now again. Cut the fat. No matter who it is, what it is, you cut it. And it's not because necessarily it's bad for you right now, but because it could be a distraction keeping you from a larger purpose. All right. And like I said it before, there was somebody that told me this was in 2020. It is better to own 1% of a watermelon than 100% of a grape. All right. But that's that, man. And just careful who you surround yourself, man. I don't care. Listen, I don't care if you're my pastor. I'm going to start analyzing you. Hey, are you living what the Bible says? And if you're not, I'll find me another pastor. That's strict I'm going to be. Because guess what? Your lifestyle gives faith or takes faith away from people.
Right, you got to have principle. You got to have standards. That's right. Absolutely.
That's it. You know, but enough with my rant. There's a bunch more. We could be here for 20 years. You know, we got about 5 minutes, man. I don't know if you guys got any question or anything to add. I know you guys got value too, man.
So I did a call on Saturday, and I said sometimes you need to get small in order to get big. Sometimes you need to step back like a slingshot in order to propel faster. And you said it today about cutting the fat. Having anchors, man. People are the major anchors in your life because you allow them, you tolerate them to be there. You tolerate them to make your knees heavy. We tolerate that instead of, because let me tell you, sometimes when we cut the anchors off, they turn into ships. They want your attention. They want to be next to you. They want to become you, and they're going to do certain things in order to stay in your life. But hold up, are they coming back as an anchor or are they coming back as a ship? That's the thing we think. We're so optimistic. We feel, okay, you know what? They probably changed. They're probably becoming something different. Let me give them a shot. Let me give them a chance. And sometimes that slows us down. So we have to be very mindful that, like you just said, John, cut them off. You have to cut bait sometimes and start all over. Get small in order to get big.
That's it. Trim down, man. Trim down. Just do less, but do it laser focused.
Yeah.
Right. A laser is not like a headlight on a car. The headlight on a car eliminates the whole front. A laser is a dot. But get in front of a powerful laser, you're gonna die. It cut right through you. Why? Because it's laser focused.
Mm-hmm.
It's focused on one spot at a time, but it's way more powerful than any headlight would ever be. All right. So that's that, man. And another thing that I have learned in this path is relationship. Value relationship over transaction. I was about to buy something from somebody. I ain't going to mention who that person is. And then you sense a little bit of, first of all, trying to rush me to the sale. All right. And it was a small sale. It was something tiny. I got busy. I was finishing up some things to get ready for my trip, a very important trip, but for that matter. All right. And I had some business to finish. And guess what I'm going to prioritize? Finishing my business. I'm not an irresponsible person. And I just felt like there was a sense of rushing to a sale and desperation at the same time. I didn't like the vibe. So guess what? I said to myself, I'm not buying it. I could have just pressed a button and bought it. It was small. But just because of that part, they value the money more than the relationship. I said, you know what? Forget it. I said it to myself. Matter of fact, I got to reply to that person, let her know to forget it. All right. But in my mind, I said, forget it. Because if you value a couple bucks over a relationship, later when the money is big, you're going to cut my head off. So you got to learn how to identify the red flags in the beginning. All right. Is if you have a lion or a tiger, let's use a tiger because they're less faithful, I heard, right? They're like big cats. But let's say a lion, the lion is, or a snake. You know, snakes, the way they eat people is they lay next to you.
They size you up.
They lay next to you all the time. You think that they're caressing you and they're cuddling with you. The snake is sitting right next to you and it's just giving it time. You think that that's your friend. You feed that friend. And that friend is growing nice and healthy. Is laying right next to you. But guess what? The day he knows that you fit in his mouth, you're dead, gone.
It's going to size you up. Yep.
Don't let that freaking snake grow next to you. Let it grow somewhere else and eat somebody else. That's a fool. But you got to know how to detect snakery and cut it loose. No matter who it is. It could be your own wife. If I see my wife is trying to screw me, what? Now let's not get into it. What kind of... Never mind. Erase that.
You're looking for trouble, boss. Right there.
Rewind. Come back.
You get back to rewind.
By the way, sex was made for marriage. By the way, we're adults here, right? But if you sense that somebody's trying to do you wrong, dude, people get hurt in life because they ignore the freaking red flag that are right in front of them. See the red flag. Be brave enough, because this is the other part. People get scared. They're like, I don't want to cut him. It's going to hurt my feelings. Like, who cares? I'd rather have my feelings hurt than die because of it. Mark, go ahead, man.
Tom, what's your strategy when you say cutting people off, cutting the fat? What does that look like? Is it a conversation? Talk to us.
I feel it on my gut, feel it on my spirit all the time. Like I tell you, when I moved to Florida, we met a family. They had 3 kids, and it's funny. Our kids were the exact same age, and they got along extremely well. But then I started sensing some vibe from them, some habits that I didn't want to have around me. The husband was aggressive. They were drinking. Matter of fact, it's funny thing is, that's in 2020 when I was drinking, and I started drinking more heavy when I started hanging out with these people. They would come over our house with their kids. Our kids will be playing upstairs. We'll be downstairs doing it up. One day I got so freaking hammered that I thought I was going to freaking die. And that's when I realized this got to go. What I do, the next day, I cut him loose. Just cut him. By cutting them, I mean, I don't call him. I made him be clear, this relationship is done. We're not hanging out again. We are done. Why? If you want me to tell you and shred your heart, I'll tell you. But I'd rather not do that. Because we're not in the business of hurting people. You just let her know, hey, not working out. And for me, no problem, dude. I appreciate you. He was a cool dude. He was a chef, too. That's my favorite part. He did a dinner for my wife, dude. Amazing dinner. And I liked him, but he had some bad habits. And I knew if those habits robbed on me, I was in a gang. I know about bad habits. And by the way, I was in a gang when I was freaking 16, 17. I was an idiot.
Right.
All right.
But still, you know about habits, and you know what habits will stick to you if you keep them there. That's why you keep negativity away.
And he was aggressive. He was aggressive, like eruptively aggressive. Like he was like, hey, let's get to it, right? If somebody like crossed him wrong, and the thing that really, because I was trying to ignore the red flags, but the thing that really ticked me over, I didn't care about the past. We all have a past. But I do judge you based on the present, based on your action that you're taking right now. And when he told me that he just took a gun from a guy the weekend before, he was at a bar and the guy pulled out a gun, he took it from him and beat him with him. I was like, this is it. Because I would have done the same way my old self. And I'm like, dude, I ain't about to ruin my life and my wife and my kids over aggressive. So I said, that's it. That thing will rob on me so fast because we're men. We like to be aggressive. And I said, you know what? No, it's taking so many years for me to control that aggressiveness and eliminate it that I cannot even chance it being aggressive like that. because I used to be very aggressive and I enjoyed it too. All right.
Anything that brings out those bad habits, you got to cut them out. I get
Cut
it.
them. Cut them. Do not ignore the red flag.
Have y'all ever seen the movie Sixth Sense?
Yeah, of course.
John, you saw the movie with Bruce Willis and the little young boy who, when he was seeing dead people?
I'm looking it up right now. Sixth Sense?
Yes, look it up. So
yeah. I think I watched it. I don't remember much of it, but I used to.
I don't know if you ever heard me use this phrase, Leo. I used to use it on the calls a lot. A lot of people are just like that movie. They're just like Bruce Willis. Like they are negative and they don't know it. Bruce Willis through the whole movie, for you guys who ain't see Sixth Sense, stop this right here. Don't watch this right here. I'm about to. It's a spoiler alert. Through the whole movie, Bruce was thinking he's watching dead people, but he didn't realize he was dead himself. Just like negative people, they are Bruce Willis at the end of the movie. They are the negative people and they don't even know it. They don't even know they're negative. A lot of people don't even have self-awareness to recognize and look in the mirror and say, you know what? I am the problem. I am the cancer. Everywhere I go, I think I'm cutting people off, but people are really cutting me off.
That's it, man. That's it.
You have a new circle because people cutting you off because you're so negative, or you think you upgrade, but your life stays the same.
You tugging fire, man. And it's like this. Listen, if you go to each job or every circle that you go to, you find problems. There's a common denominator here. You're the problem. All right. It's like I said earlier, if you're attracting low-level energy people to your life, and that's all you're attracting, self-evaluate. You're the problem. And the good news is you're the problem, which means you are the solution.
You can fix it.
That's it. So that's that, folks. I know Leo mentioned, you
got to repeat that as your closer. You got to repeat that as your closer, because right there, that was a drop the mic moment. So I'm just going to say, from my heart to your guys at ETA, this was a great thing, telling me that you have to go and really expand your mind by going to mentoring sessions. You learn a lot. It's definitely not a waste of money. It's an investment. So with that being said, I'm going to leave it there because you got to say that last line. That was powerful. That was worth writing down.
Flow state. I forgot what I said. I think I was recorded. If you didn't catch it when it drops, you dead because it ain't coming back.
I'll say it for you. Go ahead, Mark.
What was it? Remind me, man.
Mark, you got any last remarks? No? Okay, it's real simple. You said in these words, if there's a common denominator, that means
I got you.
If you're the problem, guess what? That's good news. Why? Because now you know you're the problem, therefore you're the solution.
That's
so you
it.
Fix yourself, there will be no problem.
That's it. And take full responsibility, man. Do not hand out the responsibility to somebody else. It's like saying, here's the water. Now you're thirsty because you gave the water away. Keep the water. Take responsibility of it. Clean the water. Make sure your well is clean and well oiled, and do your thing, man. Let's just roll. Up to the next time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you didn't catch a lot of things, go back to YouTube and watch the replay. All right? Because that alone is over 10,000 in value right there. Be blessed, folks.
Take it easy.